So in this video, I'm going to talk about how you guys can find swing trades and then use unusual whales to give you guys that confirmation to take the trade. All right, so this is going to be a little bit of a lengthier video, so I'm going to get right into it. All right, so there's two ways that we can do this. We need to bring stocks to our attention so we can see if they're ready for swing trading. And how do we do that? Well, first, I'm going to start with going to Finviz. Finviz is a tool that I use almost every single night to come up with my watch list, as well as any swing tradings that I may find. Now, the settings are right here. You can pause this video and use these settings. And what are we looking for when we're going through this list? As you can see, when you put your mouse over this ticker symbol, you're going to see a little chart pop up to the side of it. This is neat. It's interesting because you don't have to actually pull up the chart. But when I do find something interesting, I'm going to pull it up. But what are we really looking for here as I'm going down this list? What I'm really looking for are a few things. Right here, you can see that these are the patterns that I'm looking for. While we are on the Finviz website, we can see that this chart that shows up is a daily chart. All right, so when we're trying to look for swing trades, we're looking for a daily setup or a pattern that's forming on the daily or the weekly. This way we can get in and hold the position for a few days to a few weeks until our profit targets have been achieved. So the patterns that I'm looking for: the falling wedge pattern, the pennant pattern, the gap fill strategy, or the cup and handle pattern. Pause this video, make sure you're well aware of these patterns, and as we're going through these tickers on the Finviz website, these are the patterns that we're going to be looking for. So I'm going to pause this video. I'm going to go through this list here. We're going to go all the way down this list. Sometimes you'll see me get to the page 20, and I do this every single night until I find a few stocks that I find value in. So I'm going to pause this video right here, and I'm going to come back with a few tickers that I find that are interesting. Alright guys, so I'm on page 2, and the first ticker that pops up here is ATVI, and that's Activision. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is pull up the chart, ATVI, right? So what do we have here? We have a gap strategy setup that's forming right here. We have a clear resistance that's taking place right here. Right now we have broken over that resistance, and the chances of this gap fill taking place is very likely. So this is one candidate that I'm looking for. I'm going to put it on a watch list. I'm going to put it on a notepad, ATVI, and I'm going to continue searching here, guys. All right, next one that I just found is TJX. All right, this is on page 3. So I'm going to pull up TJX here. And perfect. What do we have? We can see that we have this little cup, and we're trying to put in this handle. So this is a little bit of an interest to me because we have this nice aggressive push up. We're trying to put in this handle. We have nice pullback coming into these moving averages here. So I find value in this. I'm going to put it on a notepad with TJX, and I'm going to address it later. Now let's find some more. All right, here we go. BYND is the next one that I find. So I'm going to pull up the list, BYND, and there we go. So we can see we have another gap fill strategy here, right guys? So previously, BYND had a gap down, and once this resistance level broke, it actually ended up filling the gap, which I mentioned on Twitter as well. Now, here we are, we have another gap down, and this move broke above yesterday's high, and the chances of this filling this gap is very likely. These are what gap fill strategies are. This is one setup. Then I'm going to put this down on the list again, BYND, and I'm going to keep going. All right, guys, so now we are on page 5, and I found UPST. Let's pull up UPST, and we can see that UPST also now has this gap to fill right here. Right guys, we have this gap to fill as well on UPST. So what am I looking for here? I'm looking for UPST to get back above this resistance level, and if it does, we have the opportunity to fill this gap till at least these moving averages. So I will set alerts, I will put this on my watch list, and I will continue watching it. This is one way that I go about searching for stocks to bring to my attention. Now this is where I take these tickers that I have on my watch list and I pump them into unusual whales to see what the flow is telling me and what the whales are doing. All right, but before I do that, I want to show you guys another method that I bring stocks to my attention for swing trading, and that's actually using unusual whales to bring these stocks to my attention. All right, we're going to head over to unusual whales here. We're going to go down to hot chains and tickers, and we're gonna almost immediately hide index fund. Now, what I'm looking for here is the call premium to be very bullish. So I'm gonna sort it by call premium and having the highest call premium here. So this tells me that the call premium is 100%. And what I'm also looking for is how much of a percentage difference this call premium is in regards to the day before. This is going to provide us a list of stocks here. All right, as we can see, I'm just going to explain what this tells you guys here. This tells you that today this ticker has 1,096 call volume, and it is a difference of 4,115% from the prior day, right? So this is interesting. This, brings these stocks to your attention, and that's what we need. When we are swing trading, we can't pull stocks out of a hat. We need to bring stocks to our attention. The first method was one way, and this method is the second way you guys can try to bring stocks to your attention. What are we looking for here? To me, I want to see, the call premiums are at least above 300%. If it's higher than that, if it's in the 1,000%, it's even better. I'm not going to take the lazy route. When I see this is 600%, I'm going to pull it up to the chart. I'm going to plug it in right here, SLCA, and I'm going to see if I see some sort of a pattern. What are the patterns that we're looking for? These are the patterns that we're looking for, right? I need to have some sort of a pattern to get into these trades. I'm not just going to buy because there's whales buying and whatnot. I need to have confirmation in my trade and in my setup, and this is what works for me. So I'm going to continue going down this list and see, for example, here KURA 2,200% increase from the prior day, right? So we're going to put KURA in here, and to me, I don't really see much of a pattern here, so I'm going to keep going. So I'm going to go down this list again. I'll pull up a few tickers that I find value in, and then we'll do the due diligence going forward. So as I was going down this list, I came across APTV. APTV has 99.3% call volume and 1,871 calls, which is an increase of 1,555% over the prior day. All right, so I'm gonna pull up the chart here, right here, APTV, and we can see that we had this sell off into the moving average, came back up into this resistance area, and once we broke out of this resistance area, we are now pulling back into the moving average. So we are essentially retesting this area right here, which was old resistance, now turning into support. All right, and what are we looking for here? We almost have this little falling wedge forming right here. And what is that? That is the falling wedge right here. Now that I have this, I'm going to put it on my watch list, and I'm going to keep looking. All right, guys, so I came across PWR. PWR, we can see it has 97.7% call premiums, 20,768 call volume, and that's an increase of 12,719% over prior day. All right, so let's pull up PWR, and we can see that we have this increase in move here. We have this sideways consolidation, and we're kind of putting in a little hammer here on the daily. Let me zoom in, right? The last time we had a similar look, the stock made a nice move, and here we are pulling back. We hit that 50-day moving average, and we're putting in a nice hammer here. As much as this is not an ideal setup, it is giving me sentiment that there is some bullish activity happening here. And if we take a look, if we want to chart this, we can actually chart a bullish pennant right here that might start to break out soon. And if we break out, then we can kind of take that trade and monitor it going forward. All right, so I'm gonna put this on my list again and go on to the next one. All right, so I found another one here, TPX. We have 96% call volume, 3,210% increase over prior day's high. And we can see that after this big push up, we're slowly kind of consolidating into what looks like a falling wedge. Now, I can tell you right now that this is actually going to look better on the weekly, simply because we have so many candles, and it's looking like it's coming into a falling wedge. So let's switch this into the weekly chart, and bam, look at that. It looks even prettier here. We have this amazing little falling wedge into the weekly moving average, and it looks very pretty here. All right, so I'm going to put this on the list as well and go on to the next one. All right, so I came across EL. This one, 95% call volume with 2,000 calls, which is a 1,400% increase over the prior day. So let's pull up EL. Let's go into the daily chart, and look at that. What do we have? We have a nice little cup here that broke out, and we're kind of flagging nice high and tight here, which is something that I'm always looking for here. This is going to be a nice setup as well, so definitely we'll put this on watch as well. All right, so now we have our tickers that we're going to want to swing trade, we're going to want to do some research on, and we're going to plug these into the flow to see what the flow is really going to tell us. And in order to do that, we're going to start right here with EL and see what EL is telling us. So we're going to click on EL here, and this tab is going to pull up and it's going to tell us a little bit of information. All right, what are we looking for here? I'm going to scroll down and see when I see a spike in call volume. All right, so we can see that on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Monday, and Friday, we had these spikes in call volume. All right, and all these spikes are above the 30-day average here. Right, so a little bit of interesting information being given to us right off the bat here on unusual whales. So the average volume is 935. On these days right here, we can see that there is a spike, significant spike of call volume coming in. All right, so that is, to me, a good check mark. I'm going to keep looking and going to keep doing some due diligence. Now I'm going to come here to the flow. All right, so the flow here, I have my premium set to 10,000. And I'm gonna search what's going on here. As soon as I search, right away, I see the call premiums are at 83,000. All right, very interesting thing here, 83,000, and everything I see here is fairly bullish above 10,000. Right, so we're gonna pull up the chart and see what this is telling us. Right, we have about 72% bullish premium, and just right off the bat, it looks like they're really targeting April 14th. Right, so nothing in the short term, and they're targeting out of the money 350s, right? But they're looking for April 2022. So this is something to know, and it might not be something that you guys are interested in simply because, you know, they're targeting further. But this daily looks very nice to me. The flow that's coming in is very interesting, so I'm going to keep this on watch, and I'm going to keep searching and doing more due diligence to give me confidence. Now, where do I go from here? This was a very basic flow search that I did. The call premiums are above 10,000, and I looked at the chart and the pies to see what they're telling me. Right, they're telling me that we have massive bullish premium coming in on the April 22, and our call flow is coming in at 350 strike. All right, so this is good to know. This is very good information. What I could do now is I could crank this up to 20,000 and see what it gives me. Right, 20,000, we can see that we're still very bullish, right? But we're still on the April 14th, right? And if I keep going over this, well, then I'm just going to filter most of these out, and I'm not going to be left with much here. All right, so I'm going to pull this up again. All right, again, we can see that we have April 2022, and the call premiums are still 60% bullish. So obviously, overall outlook, we are bullish, even on premiums above 50,000. But they're targeting that April 14th. So let's keep digging. Let's do some more research here. I'm going to pull up the intraday analyst, and here we're going to type in EL, and when we do that, it's going to give us information about EL. All right, so again, right here on the biggest options chain, what do we see? Again, we see lots of options activity for April 2022. So now I'm starting to think maybe there's some event that's taking place on that day, and these guys are buying into this event or expecting a move until then. Coming down to the chains, again, the number one on the list is April 2022, and 1,900 volume came in on Friday, and the OI is 1,300. So they really started pouring in here on Friday. This seems like this was the only day that started this movement, and they massively started buying these April 14th calls. So again, we're going to keep doing more due diligence. Now, the idea here, guys, is for you to have a sort of checklist. So just to recap here, we have call volume above average coming in, in the last week at least, check mark there. We have flow that's at least 83% bullish, check mark there. We've gone through the 10,000 premium, we've gone through the 20,000 premium, and they've all been bullish. So check mark, check mark, check mark. Now we're going through the intraday analyst. We see, mainly bullish, biggest option trades took place, and it's all right here. And on the options chain, we have a call volume above the open interest. Again, check mark. Now, last thing that I usually like to do, actually two things that I usually like to do after this, is go to the NASDAQ website. All right, now when I'm at the NASDAQ website, I want to look at a few things. I'm going to search EL here, right? And when I search EL, company information is going to come. First thing I want to check is the analysts, right? So we can see that the analysts are giving an average of 367. It's a strong buy, and that 367 is the median price. What are we sitting at now? We're sitting at 346. The low is 320. So right away, we do have some room to the upside, but even if we want to sit at the median, we still have lots of room to go on the chart. We're looking at 367 at average. Now that doesn't end there. This again gives us another check mark, right? So this check mark list is starting to grow bigger and bigger and bigger, and the confidence in taking this swing trade is also going to continue to get bigger and bigger. Now the next thing I want to check is I want to go to earnings. I just want to know what kind of a company I'm dealing with here, but not get too into the fundamentals. Just want a quick synopsis of what's really going on with the earnings. And just scrolling back on the chart here, guys, we can see that this company has been on a steady uptrend, just trucking away. That's another thing to make note. We're not trading a shitty company here. We're trading a company proven itself over the past at least 1 year, and it's slowly trekking upwards. So here we go. We're checking the earnings here. This quarterly earnings surprise amount is what I'm interested in. We can see the last 4 quarters, they have surprised and beat the consensus 4 consecutive quarters in a row. This is very interesting to me. So every time there is a consensus put out, analysts think that the company is going to do this, the company comes out and beats expectations, which is a very bullish outlook. So again, another check mark here, guys. All right, so this is EL. Now I'm going to do the next one we found on the list, and if you guys were following along, the next one on the list was PWR. So let's take a look at PWR. All right, so we have this, not the greatest daily chart. You know what? To me, I'm not really a fond of this daily chart. I'm gonna skip. Okay, I'm gonna skip this. I'm gonna go to TPX. You guys remember we saw TPX here, and the reason why I found this interesting was the weekly looked really good. Right, the weekly looks really good here. We have this nice little kissing that 20-day moving average, and every time the stock comes and touches this 20-day moving average, it pops up, touches it, pops up, touches it, pops up, and here we are again touching it, and it looks like we're about to pop up. So let's do some more research. All right, so let's go back here and find TPX. We find TPX here. We're gonna click on it, and it's gonna come up with the historical flow of TPX. All right, let's take a look at what's going on here now on TPX. All right, what we're looking for here is the spike in volume. All right, also what we're looking for here is average call volume is above 30-day put volume. Again, the average call volume in the last 7 days is above the average volume on the put side in the last 7 days. But the average volume here is only 2.1K on the call side, and yesterday we had 14,467 calls come in. This is pretty interesting. We have a massive spike in the last 6-7 days. All of a sudden we have a massive spike that comes in. So very interesting to note. So this again, a check mark. We're gonna see this and we're gonna continue going on to the next thing. All right, so we're gonna head over to the flow. Obviously no filters here yet, and we just want to see what the outlook is, right? If I take the premium out, we're looking at 67% bullish premium, right? But this includes everything, $100, $200. We want to look at things above 10,000. So let's take a look at things above 10,000. Pull up the pies. Here we go. 64% bullish. They're targeting January 21 and even December 17th. Interesting. And they're going after the $47.50. Guys, these are out of the money, and they're going after the $50. So targeting December 17th, January 21, and targeting 47.50 and 50. Where are we at the chart? We're sitting at 44. Another check mark. So let's keep going here. Let's increase premiums and see what goes on. All right, 20,000. We're getting more bullish here, right? January 2021, 74% bullish here, targeting 47.50 and 50. Very interesting as well. Now, I can tell you guys this now. If I put this on the ask side, this is going to be even more bullish, right? So let's drop this back down to 10,000 so we have more data to work with. Pump this up to the ask side. Bam. There you go. 100% bullish. All right. Now let's take the ask side off and go up to 50,000 and see what the premium is telling us now. All right. Same thing. Again, 67% bullish, going after the January 2021. And look at this. We have a spike in 55. We have a spike in 50. And even the 40 here. All right, so this is definitely interesting to take a look at. Another check mark off the list here. So now let's keep going down the list. We're gonna go into the intraday analyst. All right, so intraday analyst here, we can see what we have. The top biggest option trades, 242K. These are all for January 2021. So before we even come here, we started seeing this information given to us in the prior searches that we've done. Okay, so again, January 21st, the 47.50 calls, which is out of the money, increasing def volume here, 6,000, way above the open interest. So definitely good to see, definitely interesting to see. The second one on the list, again, January 21st, going after the 50 calls, right? lots of open interest on this one. Call volume came in on Friday, so good to see this as well. All right, so another check mark off the list here as well. Now let's go a little bit deeper. And what are we looking at here? We're gonna look at TPX. All right, we're on the NASDAQ website, and I just want to see, some analyst research on TPX. So I'm going to click analyst research. Here we go. Right off the bat, we have a strong buy on this ticker. The average is 56. The low is 54, which is very interesting here. The low is 54, and the stock is sitting at $44. All right, guys, the high is 60, the average is 56, and the low is 54. All right, and you have all these analysts here, B of A, Jefferies, Piper, all these analysts coming out with these ratings. So it's not one or two to tell you there isn't enough information here, right? Low is 54. Again, another check mark. Let's go down to the earnings. All right, so what are we looking for here? We're looking for the surprise amount. And what happened? 1, 2, 3, 4. The last 4 quarters, we have had a nice, strong surprise beat on the consensus, right? So everything here is checking off again. So again, everything is checking off here. All right, that's great. We have a pattern. We have flow on our side. We have earnings on our side. We have analysts on our side, and it's going to be giving us more confidence in taking this trade. All right, we're not trading blindly anymore. We have a pattern. We have flow. We have analysts. We have earnings. All of this is puzzling together to give us that confirmation, that confidence in taking the trade, allowing for a good stop loss, and just riding this thing to see if it works out. All right, so next one on the list here we have, all right, so after giving it some thought, I actually thought about PWR, and I really like this hammer candle that is putting in off of the 50-day moving average. Last time we put in this hammer candle, we pushed up significantly, and again we're putting this hammer candle, and we're getting increase in volume as well. All right, guys, so as much as the pattern is not an A setup pattern, it's not a quality pennant pattern, the candle pattern alone in itself after a few days sell off is giving me a little bit of interest, and I want to dig more into it. Again, we saw the flow here on PWR. We had 12,700 call volume over yesterday's or prior days, and this increase is pretty alarming and definitely something to take note of. So let's keep digging here. Let's go into the historical flow on PWR, and right away, right off the bat, what we see here, we see that we have our 7-day call volume is at 3,000 and our put volume is only 324. Obviously almost 10 times more on the call side than the put side simply in the last 7 days. Right, now let's take a look at the 30-day average, 1.7 versus the 267. Very interesting here. Now this is all good. It's telling us, there's obviously more call volume coming in, and we have our calls way above our puts here as well in the total OI. So let's take a look here. We have on Friday 20,000 call volume come in, where our average is only 1.7K. Very interesting here. So they're coming in here hard and heavy. Now let's go down. We have 4,600, another spike above average volume here. Very interesting. 7,700, boom, another spike over average over the 1.7 here. 5.9, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 days in the last 6-7 days that they coming in and they're buying above average calls here. So very interesting, definitely something I want to be interested in, and of course it checked off the box. Now let's go into the flow. Right, so here we are with the flow. Let's check PWR. Make sure we have reset on here. Put PWR. We're sitting at 95% bullish flow, which is very interesting. I don't see this often at all here. So I'm gonna pull up the charts here. 95% bullish flow, targeting 1119, 1217. Very interesting. And they're going after the 115, 120, 125, all above the current prices, right? Except the 115, right? We're sitting at around 117 right now, but this 120 is out of the money and this 125 is out of the money as well. Very interesting. So let's keep going here. Let's bump the premium up to 10,000 and check the pies for this now. Okay, we're getting more bullish, 96% bullish, 1119 and February as well as December here. All right, 115, a little bit in the money here, so not ideal. I want to see things out of the money, but 115 still not too bad here. Let's keep going. Let's bump this to 20,000. So not much information, not much data here, but let's take a look. Again, 97% bullish, targeting December 17th, 115 and 120. All right, let's keep going here. Let's bump it up to 50,000 and see what kind of information we get. And here we are again, 78% bullish, targeting the 11.19 and actually the May 20th. All right, what prices are they targeting? The 115, 120. Obviously these are well in the money now, but we got to see, because they could have been expired. We'd have to adjust the dates now to see what we're really looking for. So because of that, I'm going to go in here in time, adjust the time here, October, and press apply. Take a look here. All right, so now that I've adjusted the time, things are looking a little different. They're targeting 11.19, February, December, and they're going after the 120. All right, so not bad, very interesting again. So before, what was happening is it was pulling in information from the entire time and even showing us data that was already expired. Okay, so I adjusted that to eliminate some of the data to give us proper pies and proper charts to look at. All right, so again, another check mark off the list here. As you guys can see, I started with 10,000, moved up to 50K, adjusted things to see what it was, but everything that I pulled up was all extremely bullish. All right, now let's take a look at the intraday analyst on PWR. All right off the bat, we can see 9.6 million for May, 3.5 million for May again. So very interesting. They're buying at least a few months out, and these two right here, way above open interest, 9,000, 9,500, targeting 120 and 140, all out of the money. So very interesting again here. So as we go down, we see there's a lot of open interest for the 120 for next week's expiry as well. So I think in the short term, they're trying to get this back above for the 120. So again, another check mark, whether they're targeting a few months out or in the next week or so, they're looking for this to kind of move upwards. And because we're swing trading, we're looking for these type of moves anyways. All right, so another check mark here, and I'm going to keep going and check out PWR on the NASDAQ website. Now, again, strong buy. The average is 133. We're sitting at 116. The high is 149 and the low is 108. Very interesting as well. Just based on what we have here, if the low is 108 and we're sitting at 116, you could essentially have an $8 stop for an $8 upside target for a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio, which works very good here. And it would essentially get you going. We have all these check marks going off right now, so it's very ideal. Now let's take a look at earnings. PWR earnings, we're looking at the surprise. So we can see last 4 quarters, or last 3 quarters was a surprise, and the September 2021, not so much. All right, not so much. Good to know. 3 quarters out of the 4 was a surprise, very bullish. Overall, we can see that the chart has continuously been moving upwards as well. Just steady uptrend. So definitely something that I'm interested in, especially if I'm going to buy a call. You know, everyone on these type of charts are happy. They're buying stocks moving up. They're buying stocks moving up. Everybody that's in this stock right now is very happy. Now, most other videos will kind of end that right then and there for you. What I want to do is I want to pull this up and get into what strikes, what expiries you guys should choose in order to get into these swing trades. All right, so let's get into that and give you guys the ability to choose the expiry and the strike that you're looking for. All right, so using TPX as an example here, again, another chart that I liked very well on the weekly, nice falling wedge into the moving average. We did our research, everything checked off. Now we got to find what option chain we want to use. All right, so here we go. We have our options chain set out here. And the very basic of what you guys should be looking for is 2 things. One, you want a theta that is fairly low in comparison to your buy price, okay? And that's because every day goes by, this value is going to get subtracted from your bid. All right, you don't want to buy something that has high theta simply because it's going to chew away at your premiums a lot faster every day this goes forward. But because we're trying to swing trade, we want to have the ability to trade for a few days to a few weeks until we hit our targets. So we're looking for something at least that's going to give us that time, as well as it's going to be something with low theta that's not going to damage our premiums too much. So obviously just choosing next week's expiry here on TPX might not be sufficient. I would definitely be wary about choosing the same week expiry for swing trades. I will definitely look at least 3 weeks or four weeks out in order to swing trade, at least at bare minimum. Now, obviously TPX only has monthly options. The next one available down is December 17th. So let's take a look. December 17th, we have our theta of 0.03. Our premium is 1.75. This is awesome. This is great. Now, what I'm also looking at here is that the delta needs to be anywhere from 0.45 to 0.55. And that is simply because it's going to keep you within the out of the money and in the money, just right here in between these two. Okay, it's going to be right above and below what it's actually trading at. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a delta that's between 0.45 or 0.55, and that's what I want. So as we can see right here, our volume on Friday was 1,300. Our open interest is fairly high here as well. 45 calls for December 17th only have a theta of 0.03. The premium is 1.75. The delta is 50, meaning for every dollar the stock moves up, we're gonna get 50 cents in premium. Great. Now let's do some more digging. So now what I want to see is how much profit potential I'm going to have if I buy these 45 strike calls for December 17th. And how we do that, we need to use something called the options calculator. All right, now Unusual Whales has an awesome one, unusualwhales.com/OPC. You come up here, you put in TPX, and this pops up. So we're buying a call and we're looking at December 17th, 45 calls right here. So now we're long, perfect. Now we can go back here. All right, so what it's done now is it's loaded that contract as if you've bought one contract. Okay, you can adjust this to whatever you want. So let's say you want to put on $2,000 in risk. So you'll put this up to 10 because the premium is 180. That means you're putting on about a $2,000 risk here. Okay, tells us what our max loss is. If this contract goes to 0, our max loss is going to be 1.8K and our profit is unlimited. Now we're going to get down. This chart right here just tells you as the day goes on how much profit potential you're going to be making. But what I like looking at is this right here. This table is very appealing and it's very good to the eye, and a lot of new traders can understand this very easy. So this is telling us that today is obviously November 13th. It was Friday as we bought this. Today's Saturday, but we bought the 45 calls. You know, we have till December 17th. Now, if this contract, if this stock comes up to our first resistance level, which is right here, which is going to be the prior high at 50, right? If we come up to this 50 level, which is right here, 50, anywhere in the next, you know, until expiry, we're looking to make anywhere from 220% to 200%. I don't know about you guys, but putting up $2,000 to make $4,000 is pretty ideal, all right? Even if this stock pops up to 48, we're making 134%. Anywhere in the next, you know, until expiry. From now until expiry, if this moves to 48%, we're going to be sitting at about 100% in profit. So this is good to me. I enjoy this. I like this. I'm not sitting about, you know, it's not about 30-40%. I'm looking at bare minimum, which our first target is at here at 50-50, anywhere from 100 to 200%. Now, if this thing decides to push and go even higher, then great, right? We can see that at $54, this is about a 406% profit. And even at expiry, it's going to be a 400% profit. All right, guys. Now, if you think this is going to go to 60, well, then even better, because every dollar or two that it goes up, you're looking at least 100 to 200% in profits, right? So I hope you guys found value in this video. I started from not having a ticker to watch and going down the list, finding tickers, putting them on the charts, finding patterns, doing due diligence, using flow, doing the research on the earnings and the analysts, and now coming in and choosing an option strike and expiry that's going to make you profitable. All right, guys, so please like, share this video with somebody, retweet this, like it, blow this up, because I'm out here trying to put content out there for you guys that you guys find value in, and hopefully it makes your trading better and provides value for you guys. All right, thank you for watching and have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful day.